So now we're coming into Sunset Hill. It's not literally a sunset background version of Green Hill Zone. In fact, the level design is, right from the start, you've got jumping upstairs. Thankfully, you don't jump upstairs for a long time at any point in this level. It's not like, that was a cheaply placed enemy. Yeah, it's not like Angel Island Zone from Sonic Advance 1 bad. I always appreciate it when Amachao tells me that there might be something above here. Because sometimes Amachao can actually be pretty helpful in telling you, in giving you hints as to where the Chow are. Although it is pretty annoying how when you actually want to talk to Amachao, you have to stand in a very specific, precise spot and look up. That's how you talk to him. Although it's better than him just automatically talking to you when you run into him. Oh, I hate these things. You have to wait until the top yellow part of the spring is at the bottom. And then it'll launch you the highest when you press the A button. That's so overly complicated. Why can't there just be a regular spring there? Or at the very least a spring that launches you higher than normal and you just jump on it. Like, why does this game like to overcomplicate stuff like springs so much? What I did for this playthrough was I repeatedly tapped the A button when I was on these things. But that's not really what you're supposed to do. It's a specific timing minigame. But I mostly like the gimmicks of the level. I like when you get caught by something and flung up in the air. And there's another cheaply placed enemy. Like that right there is the perfect example of a cheaply placed enemy. You got this U-shaped floor and it's right in the center of it. It reminds me of Glitch and Chaos with the slicers. A lot of people like the theme of this level. And I don't mean just the aesthetic of it. I love the way that this place looks. Especially with the sunset background. I kind of like the music for this place. It's very high pitched and it's trying to be as epic as possible with Green Hill Zone's theme. It does a good job for the most part, but it is the GBA sound chip, so it's kind of held back in that regard. Occasionally it'll sound like sometimes it sounds like the GBA is running out of batteries, like it sounds more sad than anything. But for the most part I like it. And it's just not something I go back to. For the most part, this is an alright level. It's only in Act 3 when it kind of gets a little awkward. And even then, it's only really the beginning. So you notice at the start that this game has a co-op mode, where you can choose single player or multiplayer when you start the game. Well, I'm imagining that co-op mode would be like Sonic and Tails mode in Sonic 3, where you'd have the one player be Sonic, and he'd be running ahead, and he'd be constantly leaving Tails behind. That's what I imagine the co-op of this game to be like. Although, it's interesting to note at least that, let's say player 1 is Amy, and player 2 is Sonic. Well, in co-op mode, the player playing as Sonic would have the abilities that he would have if he was paired up with Amy, and Amy would have the abilities she'd have if she was paired up with Sonic. So, the whole partner action stuff isn't just restricted to player 1, which is nice. I really would prefer it if Hub Worlds, if you just went to the right and the act rings were always in a straight line from each other. Instead, you have to navigate all the way through this Hub World. And it's pretty harmless right now, but it's gonna get a lot worse. But this game does have fast parts, and I appreciate it for that. I suppose now is a good time to explain why I don't really like Hub Worlds in 2D Sonic games. The Hub World in Sonic Adventure 1 worked to me, because it was all about immersing you in the atmosphere. It was like, this is the world that Sonic lives in. This is Sonic's home. Like Station Square, the Mystic Ruins, they were all Sonic's home. So it made sense to me, and I was able to accept the fact that you had to go through a Hub World to get to the next level, because it was Sonic making his way through the Hub World to get to where you wanted to go. It was creating more immersion. The hub worlds of this game are immersion breaking, because there's really no reason for the hub worlds in this game to exist, other than to pad out the game. That's what I suspect is the only reason that there's hub worlds in this game. They thought that in order to make it feel more grand and epic for a 2D Sonic game, they had to pad it out. And so they padded it out by making it so that it takes longer to get to the next level. Now, Sonic 3 and Knuckles also tried padding to make it feel more epic. And they did that by making the levels longer. But this game, I don't think it really accomplishes it that well. I don't see what the appeal is in having hub worlds in a 2D Sonic game. I mean, it's not associated with anything in Sonic's world. It's not like you're going through Station Square. It's just going through these extremely arbitrary level design areas just to get to where you need to go. And sometimes it can be like you're wandering around constantly, confused and lost, trying to figure out how you're supposed to get to the boss area or the special stage. Because those are the main things that you're going to have trouble getting to. And you know, this wasn't the first 2D Sonic game to have a hub world in it. Knuckles Chaotix had a hub world, and it kept things simple and quick and straightforward and convenient. Everything was in a straight line from each other. Everything was one screen away. You've got the character select train screen, you've got the level select area, you've got the level TV screen area. The hub worlds of Knuckles Chaotix were very small and compact, so they weren't really a problem. This game harkens back to Knuckles Chaotix in a lot of ways, mainly in the partner system. And it improved that, but it didn't seem to understand the hub world lesson very well. If you're going to do hub world in a 2D Sonic game, have it be really short and out of the way. So this is the defeat all the enemies minigame. Yeah, I didn't even bother with this minigame. The time limit is way too strict. Like, I tried twice to actually beat this minigame when I was playing on my cartridge, and both times I failed. The second time I got really close, but there's so many enemies, and you're always going to end up running out of time searching all over the place for that one enemy. And again, if you lose this minigame, you don't get any lives at all. I don't know why they can't just award you lives based on the amount of enemies you killed, rather than only awarding you lives if you killed them all. That's so stupid. But yeah, the hub worlds aren't really that bad now. It's only later when they get a bit more tedious to navigate through. If the hub worlds of this game were more world building, like in Sonic Adventure, then I'd be able to understand them more, but I still don't think the hub worlds belong in a 2D Sonic game. Yeah, this is what I meant by awkward level design. Like, okay, first you've got a spike that really shouldn't be there. You've got a buzz bomber, which is the definition of a cheap enemy, placed in a very cheap way. So he's guaranteed to hit you with his projectile. And then you've got platforms that fall the instant you land on them. So you've got to know ahead of time that they're going to fall and jump on them the instant that you land on them. And then you got to jump onto another one. An interesting bit of trivia, this game is actually not mentioned on Sega's American Sonic website. I mean, it's not a horrible game, so I'm not sure why they want to admit it. I kind of like these things. I like how they launch you, and they launch you in a different direction depending on where you're facing, whether you're to the left of them or to the right of them. I like these things. Even though I got killed by one at one point. But that was because it was expecting me to land on a moving platform. It would have been faster for me to use the Tails tag action on the ground to launch me upwards to the Chow. I didn't get the idea at the time because I wasn't used to tag actions. The thing is, I rarely use tag actions because you have to charge them up. Why'd you have to take multiple seconds charging them up before you can use them? That almost destroys my motivation to use them in the first place. One thing I like about this game is that it's got so many alternate pathways. I wish the game didn't stop every time you got a Chow. It's kind of peace-breaking. And Sonic Advance 2 had like a million different alternate pathways as well. So that's something this game does right in terms of level design. There's a lot of alternate pathways. And it's not like the lower route is incredibly awkward to go through as a punishment for screwing up and falling into it. Like, there may be more pits, but other than that, it doesn't really feel like one alternate route is generally better than all the others, which is good. But I don't replay levels to go through alternate routes. Like, generally, I never end up playing through a level the same way every time anyways, because often I won't be able to go through a level in the same route that I did before, because it's all based on your skill and luck. So, that's something I like about how Sonic games have alternate routes, because it feels like every single playthrough of a level is different. Why do they have to have enemies on staircases? Really? And you can fail at the timing switch puzzles. You feel like you can stand opposite all over again, but other than that, I love the gimmicks in this level. But yeah, I think this is a fun level. There's definitely cheap enemy placement. There's some Mario-esque platforming. Like, right here, this is definitely straight on Mario. But for the most part, the only big problem I have with the level design is at the very beginning of the level. Because you'll fall down constantly. It's like Twinkle Park in 2D form. Only not as bad, because it's not like you go from the end of the level to falling all the way down to the middle of it. I don't really mind the water slides here as much as I did in, like, Sandopolis Zone, for example. Because in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you would roll into a wall and you would go down slopes really quickly. But in this game, it's got the Sonic Advance 2 physics where rolling into a wall is not really good for gaining speed. So it doesn't feel like rolling into a wall on slopes like it doesn't feel like the fact that there's a slide there is cheating you out of going fast. Oh great, another Emerald fight. I always find these to be really annoying. Although it is good in concept that you constantly fight this guy, because it means that he keeps being an important presence in the game. Because, like, he's supposed to be, like, the second big bad next to Eggman. Like, Emerald wasn't always working for Eggman. In Sonic Battle, Eggman found him, and because he wasn't listening to his orders, he just sort of threw him away. In this game, Eggman found him after Sonic had to destroy him because he went crazy with power trying to destroy the world. Long story. But yeah, Emerald used to be good, and then Sonic had to destroy him, and Eggman found him, rebuilt him, and brainwashed him to work for him. Oh, Sonic, you dick. Really? Like, I know that Knuckles is someone that Sonic doesn't think very much of. I know that he thinks he's an idiot, but that doesn't mean that he's not a badass in his own right. He's still a competent character. He's still good at stuff, like attacking and climbing and gliding and stuff. There's no excuse for Sonic going, oh, I'm so much better than you. I don't need your help. I don't need your help at all. Like, they're supposed to be friends. This is such a direct contrast from how he treated him in Sonic Adventure 2. Where he was like, I'm counting on you, buddy. The world's greatest treasure hunter. Especially glaring since Knuckles is the best character to play in the game. Oh, I hate that. I always hate how the bosses in Sonic Advance 3, they have a short period of time when they start out where Eggman won't be attackable at all. So it feels like you're really cheated out of a hit when you try to jump into him and nothing happens. And if you're wondering why the screen looks weird, it's because the emulator crashed for some reason when I reloaded my state, and when I reloaded up the emulator, it was in a slightly different position than where the Bandicam screen capture box was at. So, yeah. But this boss is pretty fun. Like, you just gotta jump at the dome when it's facing you. Unfortunately, the screen crunch is a big detriment to this boss, because sometimes he'll come at you from the left side of the screen instead of the right like you're expecting. So it's like, why is he taking such a long time to roll back down the hill? Oh, he's at the left side of me now. Now I can't jump into him. And I also hate the rising platform. It feels like it just gets in the way, like you're constantly landing on it by accident. But for the most part, this is my favorite boss in the game. Like, this is such a unique concept for a boss in this game. I don't like how you have to jump into medals and levels and boss fights. Like, I just prefer how Sonic Advance 2 did it, where you ended a level and it just ended. Like, you landed on a floor and that instantly ended the level. It's not like it was a goal ring that you could go past and miss. In this game, you have to specifically jump into a medal. And I feel like that takes more time than it should. I like the way the victory screen looks. It looks pretty. However, I don't really like the victory theme because it reminds me of Sonic CD's American victory theme, where it's very repetitive of one unimpressive part and then it finally gets to the triumphant part at the end. Something I hate about the character changer thing is that you have to jump into it in a very precise, specific way in order to change characters. Yeah, I'm showing you the Chow map from later in my playthrough, because I forgot to show it off in the original footage. That's why it says that I had Chow from zones I haven't been to yet. But yeah, it is very convenient that the game actually has a Chow map, and every single specific Chow is assigned to a specific position in the Chow map. So if you have a Chow, like if you don't have a Chow and you want to know where it is, you can just look up a guide. Obviously, Sonic's tag action is that he gives you a burst forward of speed. Knuckles and Tails is easily the most broken combination in the game. So that's why I'm going to be playing as it for the majority of the game, because, look, I mean, he's got a double jump. And the double jump is perfect for his glide. Because when he does a double jump, it cancels out all of his momentum. And so you don't have that problem where when you start gliding, you instantly start going down really heavy because you have momentum. Unfortunately, Tails and Knuckles isn't a very good combination because Tails glides instead of flies, and he goes down really heavy. But Knuckles and Tails is incredibly broken, and I'm going to be using that for most of the game. See you in the next part.